Welcome. This is episode one of the TIMO Podcast. Um, I'm Tim Bielic, and I'm very excited to finally launch and start this podcast. If you're an athlete, coach, or anyone who is passionate about personal development, mental strength, confidence, etc., you're in the right place. So, to really kick things off, I want to talk a little bit about myself and why I'm starting this podcast. Um, my name's Tim Bielic. I have over 16 years of competitive soccer experience. I played my youth career at Soccer's FC Chicago, out in Chicago, up until about I was off to college, where I played Division One soccer at the University of Wisconsin-Madison for 5 years. Go Badgers! And during those 5 years, I served as team captain for two. At the University of Wisconsin, I was very fortunate to get my Bachelor's of Business Administration, and then for my fifth graduate year, I got my Master's in Business Analytics. In addition to that, I also played for the U.S. Youth National Team at the U14 and U16 level, the Portland Timbers U23 team in the USL2 for their summer league, as well as I also trialed for a few European clubs, for well-known clubs like Schalke 04, Legia Warsaw, Vitesse out of Netherlands, as well as Mallorca in Spain. So I come to you with extensive soccer knowledge, both on and off the field. And reflecting back on my soccer journey, if there's one thing that I learned the most throughout my playing career, it would be that your mindset is just as important as your physical ability. And this realization led me to start the business that I own right now, TIMO Athletics Group, which is why I'm starting this podcast, the TIMO Podcast, where I really just want to help athletes of all levels, of all ages, just talk about how athletes can develop better habits on and off the field, help them build mental toughness, confidence, as well as peak performance. So in this podcast, we will dive more into motivation, resilience, leadership strategies, and just overall sports psychology. So, and we'll do that by sharing insights from, elite athletes, prior college athletes, current pro athletes, coaches, as well as experts. So, that's what we're all about. Another just quick fact about me. Throughout my playing career, I definitely believe I've had my fair shares of highs and lows, ups and downs, trials and tribulations. Before I was 21 years old, so I'm 23 years old currently right now, and before I was 21 years old, I had 3 separate hip surgeries. So I had one hip surgery before college, another hip surgery just a month after fully recovering from my first, and then 6 months later, I had my third one. So I was out from the soccer game for about 2 years, which allowed me to really isolate myself, self-reflect, and I was really able to learn during this period about the things that truly bring fulfillment and purpose into my life. So reflecting upon that, I realized that the 3 things that I really enjoy doing every single day that really bring fulfillment into my life is motivating, helping, and just overall inspiring others, inspiring people, inspiring athletes, inspiring non-athletes. But just bringing conversation, bringing thoughts to people's lives, and hopefully whoever's listening to this, if it's one person, if it's 100 people, if it's 1,000 people, if it's no people, if I don't have anyone on this podcast listening, that I can just bring inspiration into their lives if they want to start a new sport, if they want to start a new challenge, a new chapter into their life, that I can bring inspiration, that I can bring motivation, and hopefully give some advice on, some of the experience that I've been having in my life. Hopefully that whoever's listening to this can resonate the same. But enough about me. I want to talk about why I'm starting this podcast and what you can expect. So This podcast is really going to be about helping athletes, helping coaches, and just overall sports enthusiasts to really strengthen their development game on and off the field. So, like I said earlier, we'll mention motivation, we'll talk about resiliency, leadership, confidence, and just the overall mental and physical development strategies that are used by elite athletes today, and even in the past. I'll bring in some guests, mainly athletes, some sports psychologists, and some coaches to really share their insights so that they can give their advice and share their experiences with you. My goal here is to really give real, actionable advice that you can really apply immediately. Whether you're, like I said, an aspiring athlete just getting started on a sport, learning new skills, if you're a seasonal competitor looking for advice, looking for direction, guidance, or maybe even a coach that's looking to find better ways to motivate their team, to be more of an inspirer to your players. I hope with this podcast you're able to walk away with new strategies and new light to bring and to level up your game, both in sports and in life. So like I mentioned, enough about me. The main topic for this podcast is going to be controlling what you can control. And I think this is a very powerful lesson in life and in sports. And I say this, this lesson, so I'll reiterate myself, but what I really want to talk about today is control what you can control and let go of what you can't. If you're religious, I would alter this sentence up by saying, control what you can and let God control the rest. As athletes, I believe that we waste so much energy worrying about things that are completely outside of our control. And by worrying about the things that are outside of our control, I feel like this increases our likelihood of, developing stress, developing anxiety. These things that are outside of our control. In sports, I kind of want to compare this. Bad referees. Maybe it's the playing time that you're experiencing. Maybe it's what the coaches are thinking of you. Injuries, the weather, or even what other people are saying about you. So all these things, I truly believe are things that we could kind of get rid of in our life, is worrying about the things that we cannot control. By focusing on these things, the only thing that it's really doing is draining you. It's draining your mind, and it's taking away time and thought. It's taking away these thoughts from things that you can really focus on, that you know that you have 100% control over. It takes away the things that are actually impacting your performance on and off the field. So instead, the key to mental toughness is shifting your focus to the things you do control, what you can control. What are those things? You can control your effort. You can control your attitude when someone does say something bad about you, or you are not essentially liking how much playing time you get. What's your attitude on that? Are you going to put your head down and be sad about it, or are you going to work harder the next time? You can completely control your preparation. You can control your reactions, maybe when a bad call happens from a referee. And ultimately, you can't control your work ethic. When you lock in those things, I guarantee you, and I promise you, I've lived through it, everything changes. I really want to share a quick story, a personal story of mine. Back in college, I remember having a huge match. We had a lot of huge matches in college. One of those games where, everything was on the line. It was a Big Ten tournament game. And it was one of those games where, if we didn't win, our season was over. Seniors, whole college career is over. And, within the first 20 minutes, I vividly remember the ref. We were away. The ref was making a bunch of calls that were completely in against our momentum. It completely changed our momentum. And I remember looking around and seeing some of my teammates. Everyone was just frustrated, shaking their heads, and just really letting the emotions control how we were playing, and it was controlling the game. The way we were reacting to these decisions that were, again, completely outside of our control. We were making them, we were having it these decisions gain control of us. But I remember having this moment where I told myself, I can't control the ref. I can't control what he or she is deciding, the calls that they're making. But what I can control is my focus right now, my work rate right now, and how I'm going to lead my team. So I kept my energy high. I encouraged my teammates, and I locked in. And guess what? This mindset shift made all the difference. And I'm not necessarily saying that I made all the difference. I'm saying that the energy that I put into this game was a viewpoint for some of my other teammates who it really passed on. So again, instead of spiraling, I made a decision to regroup the team and really just speak out and say, we need to stay in this fight and we need to keep going in. And, we ended up not winning the game, but it was one of those experiences where, we made sure that the game was tight, that it was still a very close game, and we didn't give up, and we gave it all we had. And yes, although we lost, it was one of those games where we can reflect back on it and say, we gave it our all. And although that maybe some of the calls in the beginning of the game weren't in our favor, it's one of those things that we cannot control. And we need to continue to fight and continue to work and just be able to have that in the back of our minds that we gave it our all, not only for ourselves, but for the seniors on this team. So that's what I mean by controlling what we can control. Like I said, if I had let the refs' calls get in ahead of me and had our team get ahead of the refs' calls, I guarantee you, and it did show for the first couple of minutes, or at least for 10 to 15 minutes, that our performance suffered. Instead, we controlled our focus, we focused on our response, and that's what truly made the difference. Like I said, although we did lose that game, and not every game we're going to win just because we changed our focus, but I do want to reiterate that by regrouping and making sure that we controlled our work ethic, controlled our focus, we were able to keep the game close and eventually go to penalties. Now, I want you to think about a situation in your life. Maybe you didn't get selected for a starting spot. Maybe you're dwelling with an injury right now. Or maybe it's something that's completely outside of sports that is just stressing you out. I want you to ask yourself, am I spending energy on things I can't change? Or am I focusing on what I can control? So how do you actually shift your focus in this scenario? How do you shift your focus on, asking yourself and reflecting what I can't change and focusing on what you can control? The first thing that I want to talk about is just recognizing what's out of your control. If you can't change it, don't waste your energy on it. You have to think about what is in your control. If it's something that you cannot control, forget about it. You can't change anything. It's over. It's over. However, you can change what you can control in that scenario. The second thing is I want you to redirect your energy to what you can control. You can control your effort, your preparation, your mindset, leadership. These are the things that are truly in your hands that you can change yourself. You have it in your heart to change these things. Do it. This is what you need to invest your energy in. This is the ROI, the return on investment. You need to invest in the things that you can control. And the third thing is just practice mental resets. When you're feeling frustrated with yourself, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I can control my response. This is something that I can't control. This is in my possession. Now, how do the pros do this? So one of my favorite examples that I want to talk about on here is Kobe Bryant. We all know Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the definition of controlling what you can't control. He didn't care about bad calls or distractions. He focused on his work ethic, his preparation, and his ability to adapt. That's why he was so mentally strong. The best athletes in the world don't waste their time on complaining about the things outside of their control. They focus on maximizing what they can control. And that's what ultimately separates them from the rest. That's what separates the greatest of all time from just regular athletes. That's what separates you from making the team and not. That's what separates you from being scouted or recruited by the college that of your dreams and not. That's what makes you unique, is just getting control and applying these strategies, these mental strategies to your game is what's going to separate you from your peers. Now, how can you apply this to your life? So here's where I want to challenge you this week. I want you to write down one thing that you've been stressing about that's outside of your control, something that you know you cannot control, and why if it's stressing you out. Next, I want you to write down one thing you can control in that situation. And the third thing is to commit to shifting this focus. Try this. I guarantee you'll feel a difference in your mindset and performance. So, thank you all for listening to this podcast. That's it for today's episode. If this resonated with you, please do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss next week's episode. I will be posting, for now, once a week. Next week, I'll be diving deeper into topics like confidence, like handling pressure, and other mental strategies that I believe will help you become the best version of yourself on and off the field. Again, if you're an athlete looking to build your mental toughness, you're looking to improve your game on and off the field, please check out TIMO Athletics Group. We're offering programs to help you become the better version of yourself on and off the field, whether that's through physical training. Right now, we're sticking with soccer because that's where we expertise is in soccer players. We do have multiple services. One of them is a one-on-one training sessions. We have a second service, which is more for those in the local area. We have a in-person training program, which is a combination between one-on-one in-person training plus a one-on-one mentorship call every single week. We also have a mentorship training program, which is for those that are not in the local area that still want to receive mentorship advice from me. That is a 1 hour weekly mentorship call per week. Plus, I send you a 7-day training program to optimize your skills on your own. And then the last thing, if you are looking to learn more about the college soccer process, the landscape, how you could show yourself and be a bigger target to colleges and really showcase your skills and be an eye-opener to colleges, please consider joining our college recruiting mentorship program. Here's where I'll teach you everything college soccer, give you techniques, give you strategies, and help coaches see you at showcases, at your games, at tournaments. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, control what you can and let go of what you can't and keep pushing forward. See you next time.